little bit. I'm going to review why I believe Sandra Watts illegally had me arrested on the jury duty case. And then I'm going to tell you why, even though I spoke out against it at the time, I'm going to review it, why, and how normally if people don't have a voice, many things, much more serious. But I was called to jury duty, and I'm going to show you why, okay? And the day I went to jury duty, I was the only one, as far as I understand, at that stage of jury duty, that they ask you in the morning, does anybody have an excuse why they should be released? I believe I was the only one that went to, this was downstairs in the courthouse. I said, well, we're watching a kid that he's under our care right now because of the CPS problem with the mother, who is a friend of my wife's, and his name is Chris. I said, so I go home every afternoon, and I have to be there when he gets off the bus because he's under my care. And, of course, I unlocked the house, so he got dropped off at our house in the afternoon. So the bailiff said, okay, but you still got to wait until we all go upstairs to the 117th District Court with Sandra Watts. But when I went up, or downstairs, but the bailiff said to me, I explained it to him again, it was a few hours I was there that day. I said, I actually explained the excuse to get at jury duty. He said, you'll be released. You won't have to come back in the afternoon, because this was a jury duty. They were going through jurors, potential jurors. Now, Miss Watts, this was in her courtroom upstairs. She spoke to all of us for a long time about the history of the court. And then she said, you will all be coming back this afternoon, except for one of you. Now, I believed I was the only one with an excuse. I took that to mean that, especially being the bailiff said you won't come back this afternoon, that was me. So we were dismissed for the morning, and then later in the day I was arrested. Miss Watts put out a warrant for my arrest. It was called a bench warrant. I explained that earlier. I also said when they came to the door, the bailiffs or the sheriff's department, I said, what are you arresting me for? Put me in handcuffs. They said, you have a warrant because you didn't show up. And I told them, I'm sure they don't remember, but I said, she told me I didn't have to come back, which was a statement from the bench. One of you will not be coming back. Went back to the court, this Nueces court, and I spoke for myself, though she was willing to violate the law by having me go in without representation, because I was in the hallway upset, and she had someone come out and say, tell him to shut up, because I was talking loud. I said, tell her, by law, she needs to provide me with legal representation. Well, now this was like a standoff. She came out, and they went downstairs and got me a lawyer. But I told them, I said, don't worry, I'm going to do all the talking. When I went in, she's like, tried to berate me. And I explained everything. I said, you said one of you will not be coming back. And I said, your bailiff also told me not to come back. Now, we're not just talking about a disagreement. Miss Watts had me arrested that day. And because it was under false pretense, the entry made into my residence, 966 Crossbow, was also illegal because you had no cause for my arrest that day. Now, I said to the bailiff, the bailiff lied, and I told the truth. Miss Watts might have forgotten that she said one of you will not be back, but I brought that up in the court when she had me come back. I said, you said one of us will not be back, and your bailiff said I would not have to come back for the afternoon. She put the risk of the child under our care, Chris, that Sunshine's son. She put him at risk because she did check, and we did have legal custody, for like that few weeks under the system, because we had to, because the mom of the kid we were watching was not allowed for some reason. He had to be under someone else's care, and she didn't want him to be taken by CPS. So that's why we had that. So Miss Watts put that child at risk because I was supposed to be home actually at the time when she called me back. Luckily, but she didn't know, my wife and I believe the mother, Sunshine, was there. because they saw all that, and the Sunshine said, "Oh, John's mad." Now, you should pay me the fine I paid back, and you should settle with me for an illegal arrest that day. But it showed me that they think they can do what they want. And when I saw Miss Judge Sandra Watts, 117 District Court, say she was running again, I just showed you false testimony by her own officers in her own court. And either she forgot, she said one of you will not be back, or she just decided to lie. So you have, now that's a minor case. She is also the judge who presided over some of the more questionable convictions of the Bishop Carpenter and possibly the Corpus Christi mechanic. Here's the question. I told you I have friends, and I'm wondering, did you have a statement? This is the Corpus Christi mechanic case. The girl was shown to have lied about being bound, taken against her will. But then she told that story when the mom said, "Where were you all night?" and all. She said, "Oh, I was bound, kidnapped, and raped." Most normal localities, when they looked at that, would think something's up here. Like the young girl didn't want to get in trouble for possibly using illegal drugs and all. Because that girl didn't report any of that, the next day her mom, she said, "Oh, that's what happened." But normally when you do an investigation in a serious crime like that, kidnapping, holding against her will, rape, and all that, normally you get the statements from other people, like the girl she said she texted. It's possible that they had statements, the DA's office under Mark Skirka had statements that that girl made that story up and did not release that evidence in court. It's possible. I found that amazing when there's a friend of mine, someone I know, but he was a former JAG Navy officer. But he explained to me, he said, he's familiar with the courts of Corpus Christi. He said, when that happens, like what I just explained, he said, what they do, he works at Nueces County. He said they had a history of going after the other witnesses, even friends of the accuser, and saying, "We will charge you with the crime if you backed up her story in the beginning, but now feel, oh no, I should have lied for my friend." He explained to me they then will charge the witness that would tell the truth. They threaten to charge that witness with the crime and arrest her. And when I realized this is why, what I told you about, that's, to me, it was a big thing that you came and arrested me at my house when I gave you all that. But when I saw she presided over some of these other ones, then I realized if she did stuff like that in more serious cases, then that woman should not be on the bench. I gave you enough today, just from that particular day, of the experience I gave you, that she should not be on the bench. Because she did an illegal arrest. And she also had her own court officer lie. And when you're in a court like that, and she also was not going to give me representation until I demanded it, though I did not use the lawyer. That would show you just in that scenario. How many more severe cases do you have like that? So yes, the Eric Von Wade case. The cops seemed like the girlfriend of Eric Von Wade wanted to get back at him. Proof of that is she was the one that more than likely stole his truck because she had the keys and all. Now the cops said, well, we located the truck, but there's nothing else we can do. I wonder if they even interviewed her. There's other things with family members that I can't discuss, but when they saw certain things, that some of them know officers, has nothing to do with my street ministry, and when they saw some things happen, they said, oh, John's right. There was, I can't talk about those because some family relatives, when they saw, a friend of theirs who's an officer, commit 2 crimes. They were like, oh. Now, to me, when our county, I mentioned the ICE raids a few weeks ago, throughout the whole country, out of all the ICE raids, they arrested about 150 people out of Corpus Christi, Nueces County. That was about 10% of all the ICE raids in the US of A. The reason that happened wasn't simply because you had a gang and drug problem all across the country. The reason that happened is because a lot of it is done in collusion with certain criminal elements within the county. That's what I wanted you to see when I commented on that. A lot of the element of corruption within Nueces County. But for today, yes, what I testified to you about Ms. Watts is totally true. And instead of her acknowledgement, we're sorry, sir, my bailiff told you. Instead, she slapped me with that $125.50 fine. I could sue you for false arrest. I could sue the county for that. Because, and whether that bailiff still works there or not. But I consider that case of mine minor. But when I realized Ms. Watts also presided over, and it's possible they had testimony from the accuser in the mechanic case, that the girl's friend said, no, she lied, she didn't want to get in trouble. And in a normal county, you would not withhold that. But at the time of the Skirka, things like that were withheld. Or witnesses like that who would say, you know, my friend lied about, normally you drop a case like that. But in Nueces County, they had a history of not only not using that testimony, but threatening the witness later, we will arrest you if you tell the truth about this. See, the system of justice, it depends on honest testimony. And Ms. Watts got snared in this little thing simply because it's true. And to her, it might have been like, this guy is like, you know, standing up for his rights against me. Because not only should you have not fined me that day, which you did, but you should have apologized to me. And you had no idea whether that boy that I actually was picking up at the house, the bus dropped him off, you checked into it before I got back to the court, because you knew. She checked into it with Child Protective Services. So just bringing me back to the court, not realizing she could have put the life of that child in danger. So those were a bunch of mistakes Ms. Watts made, and we're not asking at this stage for you to step down, but you certainly should not run again.